Scenario number 15, calculations. Scenario number 15, calculations. So in Tableau, the most important concept or most important part is calculations, because Tableau is like doing mathematics with an application base. Okay, Tableau is nothing but doing mathematics with an applications. So in mathematics, like what we usually build formulas. So see, similarly in Tableau, if you want to build the formulas or if you want to build the logics, we make use of this calculations. Okay, so how to open a calculated field? First, let me open Tableau. Let me go to Superstore. So how to open a calculated field means we have multiple ways. So here we have one tab called as the analysis tab. Click on analysis tab and click on create calculated field. If you click on that field, Tableau will open one window like this. In this calculated field window, we can write our required logics or the required formulas. So Tableau calculated fields are nothing but building the required formulas or building the required logics in Tableau. So what the calculation field contains or what the calculation formula contains. The calculation field or calculation formula contains data fields. Data fields number one data fields, and number two parameters. So to the calculation we can add parameters, and next number three, even we can add the functions. Okay, the most important part in the calculations is functions. We have a lot of functions in Tableau. So here we are seeing total 8 different types of functions. And next number 4, optionally we can add comments also. If you want to add any comments, you can add them, but the comments are optional. So the first three parts are, first three are mandatory, the data fields. The data field can be either dimension or measure. Next, the parameter and functions we have to take depending on the data type. And next, number 4, optionally, the comments. So it is one way of opening the calculated field. The other way of opening the calculated field is, if you go to the right side of the dimensions, here we are having one drop down. Just click on the drop down and click on create calculated field. So if you click on create calculated field, it is the calculated field window. It is the calculated field window. Next, the other way to open is just simply right click on this empty area below the parameter and click on create calculated field. And even if you right click on any required field, we have an option called as create. Just go to create and click on create calculated field. So we can open the calculated field window in multiple ways. So the calculated field window in Tableau 8 is different and in 9 is different. In 9, the calculated field window they have modified. So what about in 8? Let me show you the calculated field window in 8. So just click on this drop down and click on create calculated field. It is the calculated field window in 8, whereas in 9 it is completely different. So as I have told, the formula, the calculation formula contains the data fields, parameters and functions, and optionally we can able to add the comments. Okay, so what is the difference between the calculated field window in 8 and in 9? So let's say for example here I'm entering some character, say like C. If you enter some character, say like C, your Tableau is not showing any matching fields or matching functions or matching parameters whose name is starting with C. So if you want to select any field, we have to go to the fields and we have to click on the field and we have to add some function by clicking on it, and we have to do the required calculation building. Whereas if we go to 9, in 9 the calculation formula or the calculation window is having auto completion. If you enter C here we can able to see all the functions and all the fields whose name is starting with C. Here we can able to see all the functions or all the fields whose name is starting with C. See here, here is in category. Let's say for example, I'm entering some yes. If I enter yes here, I can able to see all the functions whose name is starting with yes and even the data fields also. So it means the calculated field window in 9 is having the auto completion. So in 9 here we cannot see any data fields. So how to get the data fields means it's very simple. Just enter any character. Tableau will show all the matching fields. Tableau will show all the matching fields or matching functions. Okay, whose name is starting with yes or whose name contains yes. Okay. So it is a difference. So first we'll start in 8 and next we'll jump into the 9 because we have some new functions in 9. So first we'll discuss the calculations in 8. Okay, and then we will go to the 9 and we will identify the new functions in 8 and in 9. So first let me start with my first question. So I'm having a task where I would like to show item wise PVD, PAD and DP. Okay, for every item I would like to show PVD, PAD and DP. So what is PVD? PVD stands for price before discount. PVD stands for price before discount. What is PAD? PAD stands for price after discount. Price after discount. And DP, what is DP? DP stands for discount price. DP stands for discount price. Okay. Here I would like to show item wise PVD, PAD and DP. So what is PVD means? The price before discount, and PAD means price after discount, and DP it means the discount price. So how to show these things? So just go to Tableau. I'm going to 8. So first drag the item from dimensions and drop it into rows. Next we have to show PBD, price before discount. So how to get the price before discount? The price before discount is nothing but the actual price. So just go to the dimensions, click on that, click on create candidate field. So I'm giving the field name as PBD, and in the formula we have to take the required field. So as I have told what the formula contains, data fields plus parameters plus functions and optionally comments. So this time I'm taking only the data field. So the price before discount means the actual price. So here I'm adding a comment. So how to add a comment means it gives price before discount. Okay, so just hit OK. So now once drag the PVD and drop it into the text. It is the price before discount. Next we have PAD. PAD means what? Price after discount. So how to get the price after discount? So if we go to the measures, we have one measure called as discount. So after applying the discount, we have to find out the the price. So if you want to get the price after discount, so what is the formula? The formula is price before discount. So for the PAD, for the price after discount, the formula is PBD, the price before discount minus discounted price. So we have to subtract the price before discount minus the discounted price. It is going to use as what? PAD. So here first we need to calculate DP. DP means what? Discount price. So how to get the discount price? Okay, how to get the discount price? Let's say for example, I am having one item of price 100 rupees, and the discount on the item is 25%, and the discount on the item is 25%. So what is PBD? PBD is 100, right? And here what is the discount price? What is the discount price? the discount price is 25. So here how we can get this 25? What is the formula for this 25? So the formula is the PBD, the price before discount, into discount. So what is price before discount? It is 100 into what is discount? The discount is 25%, so which is equal to 0.25, which is equal to 0.25, so which in turn equal to 25. So now what is PAD? It is equivalent to price before discount minus DP. What is DP? 25. So it is equivalent to 75. So the same we have to apply here. So just go to Tableau, create a candidate field. So with the name DP, discount price. So the formula is PBD into discount. If I calculate PBD into discount, it is going to give me the discount price. So just hit OK. So now here we got the DP discount price. Next we have to calculate PAD. So what is PAD formula? PBD minus DP. Okay, PBD minus DP, just hit OK. So now here I got PBD. So I want a text table. How to get text table? Drag the discount price and drop it into the visualization. Now drag the PAD and drop it here. So just place the DP in between PBD and PAD. So now here we got PBD. Okay, next here we got the DP, and next here we got the PAD. So for example, if you see this item, the PBD is 59, whereas the discount price is 1. What is PAD? 57. So 59 minus 1, 58, right? Why it is showing 57? Okay, why it is showing 57? So if you walk through some values, we can able to find the values like this. So let me show you a few values like that. Yeah, if you see this, so 126 minus 5 is showing 120. So why here we got the values like this? So here the PAD actual value is 121, right? But here why it is showing 120? Why it is showing like this means, okay, these functions, these fields, they're having some decimal values. This PBD, DP and PAD, they're having some decimal values. So here just we're showing only integers. So we have to show here the decimal values. So how to get the decimal values? So if we want to show the decimal values with these fields means we have to change the number format of these fields. So where we can change the number format? We have to go to the default properties of the field. So how to get the default property? Just simply right click on the field, right click on the measure, go to default properties, go to default properties. If you go to default properties, we are having an option called as number format. So click on the number format. If you click on the number format, here we can able to find one option like number custom. Just go to number custom. In the number custom, here we can able to see the decimal place, number of decimal places. So just hit OK. So here we have added okay, the decimal place was PV. So now just go to the DP. The DP also add the decimal, how to add the decimal places. Right click on the DP, go to the default properties, and go to the number format. Here we have the different number format. Just click on number custom and just set 2 decimal places. Hit OK. Here we got the DP, and similarly go to PAD, default properties, number format, number custom, 2 decimal places. Just hit OK. Okay. So now here we got the actual values. We compare any value, the output is correct. So here, just I have shown you one simple example of using the calculations. So here, why we have to use the calculations means every time with the existing fields, every time with the existing data fields, we cannot perform the analysis. Okay, so to get the required output or to get the required values, we need to create the new fields known as the calculated fields. Okay, we need to create the new fields known as the calculated fields based on the existing fields. So these new fields are also known as the derived fields because we are deriving the values from the default fields or from the existing fields. So before creating the next calculation tasks, first we should know about the functions. Okay, the most important part of the calculation is functions. Okay, so total we have 8 different types of functions. So first let's start with the first type of function, number. First let's start with the first type of function, number functions. So let's discuss the different types of number functions we are having in Tableau. So the first type of function in the numbers, the first type of function is ABS. The first type of function is ABS. So what is ABS? ABS stands for absolute value function. Okay, absolute value function. So what absolute value function will do? Absolute value function. So why, first of all, why all these functions are called as the number functions means all these functions they will take the input as number. All these functions they will take the input as number and use the required value. So what ABS will do means ABS will take the input as number. So what a number contains? Number contains two parts, okay? Sign and the value. Number, if we take any number, let's say for example, if we take 5. So this number contains two parts. One is sign. What is the sign of the number? Plus, and what is the value? The value is 5. Okay. So what this ABS function will do means, ABS function, it ignores the sign and it gives the value. ABS function will take the input as number. After taking the input as number, okay, it ignores the sign and just it returns the value. So what does it mean? For example, if I take ABS of 5, so it is going to give us what? 5. And if I take ABS of minus 5, if we take minus 5 here, minus is a sign and 5 is value. It just returns the value by ignoring the sign. So the output is 5. In both the cases, the output is 5. Okay. So here I am building one formula. I am taking here ABS. In the formula, I am taking ABS of 5 I am taking. Okay, so always you have to get the calculation as valid. So here what ABS function going to do, it is going to give us the value. Which value? Okay, the numeric value. So if the field is giving the output as number, Tableau going to create the field under measures. So hit OK. So now Tableau is creating that ABS field under the measures. So if you drag and drop any measure, what Tableau will take? Tableau will take the aggregation, right? Similarly, if you drag and drop the ABS, Tableau going to take the aggregation. Okay, Tableau going to take the aggregation. So here, how to remove the aggregation? So if you want to remove the aggregations here, this ABS field is having the value as 5, but as it is taking the sum here, it is giving some aggregated value. So to display the correct value here, we have to remove the aggregation. So how to remove the aggregation? Just simply right click on this field. If you right click on this field, okay, here we have an option called as a dimension. Just click on dimension. If I click on dimension, your Tableau is showing the value associated with that field. Or the other way to remove the aggregation is click on analysis and uncheck aggregate measures. If you click on analysis and if you uncheck here in analysis tab, we have an option called as aggregate measures. just uncheck it. If you uncheck it, here we can able to see that value with that field, okay, value associated with that field. So if I take ABS of plus 5 and if I take ABS of minus 5, if I take ABS of plus 5 and ABS of minus 5, now for this the value is 5 and for this also the value is 5, so 5 plus 5, 10. So your Tableau is going to return the output as 10. So click on apply and click on OK. Now see here, now what is the output? The output is 10. Okay, so in this way the ABS is going to work. Next, so the next type of functions are trigonometric functions. The next type of functions are trigonometric functions. So what the trigonometric functions will do in Tableau? With the help of the trigonometric functions, we can able to find the distance between two locations in the map, or the distance between two planes, or the distance between two seashores. In that way, we want to find out the distance calculations. Okay, we can use this trigonometric function. These functions are very useful in the real time. So what is syntax of the trigonometric functions? Okay, for all the trigonometric functions, the syntax is same. They will take the function of, they will take the input as, radians, and they'll use the output as value or some number. Okay, the trigonometric functions, they will take the input as radians. So directly the trigonometric function, they won't support the degrees. So we have to take the degrees in terms of radians, and it will convert that radians to values. It is going to use the output as values. So in Tableau, we're having total 4 different trigonometric functions. They are sine, cos, tan, and cot. Okay, they are sine, cos, tan, and cot. So what these functions will do means these functions will take the input as radians, because directly these functions, they won't support degrees in Tableau. We cannot take the input as degrees. So they'll take the radians and they'll convert the radians to the required values. Next, number 3, inverse trigonometric functions. Inverse trigonometric functions. These functions are also called as cyclometric functions. These functions are also called as cyclometric functions. So these functions are opposite to the trigonometric functions. So what the trigonometric functions are doing? Trigonometric functions, they are taking the input as radians and they're giving the output as value or number. Okay, they will take the output as value or number. So what inverse trigonometric functions will do? The inverse trigonometric functions, they will take the input as value or number. They will take input as value or number, and they'll give the output in terms of radians. So in mathematics, we will see some functions called as sine inverse, cos inverse. Okay, we can see some functions called as sine inverse, cos inverse, tan inverse. Okay, those functions are nothing but the inverse trigonometric functions. Okay, so for example, if I take here sine, so what is sine syntax? So sine of radians equal to, it is going to output some value. So Tableau is having only 4 trigonometric functions, but in mathematics we have secant and cosecant also. Okay, so if I move the sine to the other end, so then what would be the function? The function would be radians equal to, sine, the function will be radians equal to sine inverse of value. Okay, radians equal to sine inverse of value. So these inverse functions, okay, these inverse functions are also known as cyclometric functions. So total we have four different inverse trigonometric functions. They are a sine, a cos, a tan. Okay, a tan 2. So let's implement these functions in Tableau. Okay, let's implement these functions in Tableau. So first I will implement the trigonometric functions. So I assume you will have some basic idea on the trigonometry, like some basic trigonometric values. So first let's say I would like to find out sine 30 value. So what is sine 30 value? 1 by 2. So how to obtain the sine 30 value in Tableau? If you want to obtain sine 30, just take sine of, so 30 means for 30 degrees. So we have to take the degrees in terms of radians. So how to get the 30 degrees? So we go to the number functions. If you go to the number functions, we are having a function known as pi. So pi means pi is equivalent to 180 degrees. So I'm taking the pi function. So how to convert 180 to 30? Just take pi by 6. If I take pi by 6, then it is equivalent to 180 by 6. So it is equivalent to 30 degrees. So it is giving sine 30. So just hit OK. So now Tableau is creating that field under the measures. So drag the sine 30 and drop it into the rows. So convert that to dimension. So now see the value. What's the value? So sine 30 value is 1 by 2, which is equivalent to 0.5. Okay. So how to obtain sine 30? Just take pi by 6. Here I'm taking the 30 degrees in terms of the radians. Okay. So how to get sine 45? Just take pi by 4. So sine 45 value is 1 by root 2. So it means 1 by root 2 value is 1.414. So it is going to divide 1 with 1.414. The value is 0.7071. So how to obtain sine 90? Sine 90 value is 1. So it is pi by 2. It is pi by 2. So just click on apply and click on OK. Okay, so as sine 90 value is 1, here we got the 1. So in this way we can able to implement the trigonometric functions, right? Then how to implement the inverse trigonometric functions? So let's say for example I'm taking a sine. So a sine is nothing but what? Sine inverse. A sine is equivalent to sine inverse. Okay, I'm taking now the sine inverse of, okay, this A indicates inverse, okay. So A sine is equal to what? Sine inverse. So if we take sine inverse of 1 means, so if we take the sine inverse of 1 means, when the value equal to 1 in sine, okay, when the value equal to 1 in sine in 90 degrees. If sine 90, then the value is 1. If we take sine to the other end, 90 equal to sine inverse of 1. Okay, so here I'm taking a sine of, I'm taking here a sine of 1. So if we take a sine of 1, it is equivalent to 90 degrees. So just hit OK. Just hit OK. Now go to the measures. If we go to the measures, here we have the a sine field. So drag the a sine and drop it into the rows. So just right click on it and click on dimension. So now it is giving some value like 1.571. So what inverse trigonometric functions will do? They will take the input as the inverse trigonometric functions. They will take the input as value and they'll give the output in terms of the radians. So I would like to see the output in terms of degrees. So how to convert these radians to degrees? Okay, what the inverse trigonometric function will do means, these functions, they will take the input as value or number and gives the output in terms of radians. So here we are seeing the radians. So how to convert this radians to degrees? So if we want to convert any radians to degrees, we have a function called as degrees function. We are having a function called as degrees function. So what this degrees function will do? Degrees function will take the input as radians. Degrees function will take the input as radians and it will convert that radians to degrees. Okay, degrees function will take the input as radians and it is going to convert that radians as degrees. And if we want to convert the degrees to radians, we have one more function. We have one more function called as radians. So the radians, it is going to convert radians function. It is going to convert. It will take the input as degrees. So if you want to convert any degrees to radians, then we have to make use of the radians function. And if you want to convert any radians to degrees, then we have to make use of the degrees function. So here, as this a sign is giving the output in terms of the radians, so just I am adding here one logic. So to this formula, just I am taking here radians of, so not radians, degrees, because we want degrees. Right here I am taking degrees of, here just I am taking degrees of a sign. Okay, to this logic here I am adding just degrees, so I am taking degrees of a sign. So just click on apply and click on OK. So now see the degrees. How many degrees? It is equal to the 90 degrees. So it's clear, right? So here what I have done is just here I have taken a sine of 1. It means it is equivalent to sine inverse of 1. So in the degrees it is equal to 90 degrees. But the inverse trigonometric functions, they won't use the output directly in terms of degrees. They will generate the output in terms of radians. So here we need to convert that radians to degrees. So this field is giving us radians. This field is giving us the radians. So we are converting the radians to degrees using the degrees function. So click on apply and click on OK. So now here we got the required degrees. So let me take one more field. I'm getting one more field. I'm taking cos 60. Cos 60. So how to get cos 60? I'm taking just cos of pi by 3. Pi by 3. So it is going to give us the value as, okay, so 1 by 2 is 0.5. Now take a cos of, I'll take a cos of 0.5. So it is going to give us what? The equivalent value of degrees. So which is 60. But a cos, it won't give the output directly in terms of the degrees. Here we have to convert the degrees to radians using the radian function. Here we have to convert the degrees to radians using the radian function. Hit OK. We can now create a new sheet. Now drag the a cos and drop it into rows and convert this to dimension. So I think I have taken some wrong. I have taken radians after degrees because we want degrees, right? So just click on apply and click on OK. So now see here, what is cos 60 value? 1 by 2, so it means 0.5. So in this way we will implement these functions. Okay, so the use case of this function I'll discuss in the future task. Okay, in the future we are going to discuss few tasks and calculations. In those tasks I'm going to discuss these functions. Okay, so next, so if we go to the number, so we have discussed ABS, A cos, A sin, A tan degrees. Next, div function. Next, div function. So div function will take the input as integer 1 comma integer 2 and it is going to divide integer 1 with integer 2. Okay, and also it gives the output as integer. It also gives the output as integer. So what does it mean? Let's say for example I will take div of 5 comma 2. So if we divide 5 with 2, the output is 2.5. So in 2.5, 2 is integer and 0.5 is decimal. It is going to eliminate this decimal part and it is going to use the output as what 2. So I'm taking div. So in the formula I'm taking div of 5 comma 2. So just hit OK. So now create a new sheet. Now drag the div function and drop it into rows and convert this div to dimension. So just click on it. See now see the value. What's the value? 2. Okay. Next, if we take div of 5.5 comma 2. We take div of 5.5 comma 2. See here Tableau is giving us the error. So if you click on the drop down, so once see the message. Div is being called with float comma integer. Okay, div is being called with float comma integer. Did you mean integer comma integer? So basically here what is the first value 5.5, which is an integer, which is a floating number. It's not the integer. So what is div syntax? The div syntax is div of int 1 comma int 2. But here I have taken the floating number. So here Tableau has thrown the error immediately. Okay, so it won't accept the floating numbers. So it will accept only the integers. And even it gives the output as integer only. We even gives the output as integer only. Next. The next type of function is sign function. So sign function will take the input as number. Sign function will take the input as number. So if the input number, the number is greater than 0, the number is positive, it is going to give sign as +1. It is going to return the sign as +1. The number is less than 0. The number is less than 0. It is going to give the sign as -1. And if the number is equal to 0, the number is equal to 0, then it is going to give the sign as 0. Okay, sign function will take the input as number. If the number is greater than 0, then the sign is +1. If the number is less than 0, then the sign is -1. The number is equal to 0, then the sign is 0. Okay, so just go to Tableau. Let me show you this. So I'm creating a new sheet. So just take the sign function. I'm taking sign of 100. So 100 is greater than 0, so the sign is +1. So just hit OK. Drag the sign function and drop it into the rows. Okay, I'm taking the dimensions here. The sign value +1. So now for the sign I'm taking minus. I'm taking -100. So just click on apply and click on OK. Now see now what is sign? -1. So the number is negative. The sign is -1. And next I'm taking 0. If you take 0, the sign is 0. Okay. So now I'm taking sign of 100 plus sign of -100 plus sign of 0. I'm taking sign of 0. Okay, so now for 100 the sign is +1. For -100 the sign is -1. So +1 -1 +1 -1 plus 0. So which is equal to 0. So click on apply and click on OK. See here, now what is the sign? 0. So +1 -1 is 0, plus 0 is 0. So the output is 0. Next. The next function is Zn. The next function is Zn. Zn is also called as the zero number function. Zn is also called as the zero number function. So what Zn going to do? Zn will take the input as number. Zn will take the input as number. If the input number is null, it will convert that null to 0. If the input number is not null, then it will display that number as it is. Let's say for example, I am taking product and I am taking sum of sales. So I'm having A 100. So B no value, C no value, and D 200. Now if we take Zn of sum of sales, if we take Zn of sum of sales, now here Tableau going to use the output as it is going to compare each and every value of sum of sales. So here the value is 100. So 100 is not null. It is going to return that value for A. For B, what's the value? No values means null. So it will convert that null to zeros. Next for C, again it is null. It will convert that null to zeros. And for D, it is 200 because for D we are having the sales one. Okay. So in this way, this Zn going to work in the real time. So next, let's find out the customer-wise profit ranks. Let's find out the customer-wise profit ranks. If the profit is positive, then we have to indicate the customer as +1. If the profit is negative, then I would like to indicate the customer as -1. Okay, here I would like to find out customer-wise profit ranks. Customer-wise profit ranks. So if the profit is positive, then we have to show it as +1. If the profit is negative, we have to show it as -1. So just go to Tableau. So once drag the customer, just add all the numbers. So drag the profit and drop it into columns. So click on the descending order. So drag the profit and drop it into color. So once click on ABC. So if you see here for some customers we are having profits and for some other we are having the losses. Okay, for some other we are having the losses. So let me create a calculated field with the name profit sign. With the name profit sign, the formula is sine of sum of profit. So just hit OK. Now drag the profit sign and drop it into color. Okay, now drag the profit sign and drop it into label. So for all these customers, here Tableau is showing the sign as +1, and for the below customers, Tableau is showing the sign as -1. Okay, why? Because for all these customers, the profit is negative. Okay, for all these customers, the profit is negative. And the next type of number function is round function. So the round function, it is going to round the decimal places or even the integers also. The round syntax is round of input expression comma n, where n indicates number of places, where n indicates number of places. Okay, the round syntax is input expression comma n, where n indicates the number of places. So as the round syntax is input expression comma again, as the round syntax is input expression comma n. So if the n is positive, round will work in one way. If n is positive, number of places is positive. If n is positive, round going to round integers. Sorry, round going to round decimals. It is going to round decimals. And if n is negative, then round going to round the integers. Then round going to round the integers. Okay, so let me discuss a few examples. Let's say for example I'm taking round of 12.1234, comma 2. So now here what the Tableau going to do? Here Tableau going to round this number. Here Tableau going to round this number to 2 decimal places. Here what are the 2 decimal places? Okay, up to 12. Okay, up to here. So the output is 12.12. It is going to round the number to 2 places. So the output is 12.12. Next, let's say for example I'm taking a round of 12.1254, comma 2. So we take 12.54, comma 2. Now again Tableau going to round the number to 2 places till 12.12 till 12.12. Now here what is the output? Now here the output is, this time it is going to use the output as 12.13. This time it is going to use the output as 12.13. So why 12.13? So why 12.13 means while rounding the number to n places, if the n is positive, while rounding the number to n places, here we are rounding to 2 decimal places, Tableau going to check the n plus 1 value. It means for the next value. Tableau going to check the next value. If the next value is 5 or more than 5, if the next value is 5 or more than 5, Tableau going to add 1 to the n value. So it means what Tableau going to add 1 to the n value, that is the second decimal value. So 2 plus 1, 3. Whereas in this case the next value is 3, which is less than 5. So the logic is while rounding the number to n places, Tableau going to take n plus 1 value. Tableau going to take n plus 1 value. If n plus 1 value is greater than or equal to 5, Tableau going to add 1 to n value. Tableau going to add 1 to n value. Else it will display n value. Okay. So now let me take one more example. If I take round of 12.4567, comma 3. Now here what Tableau going to do? Tableau going to round to 3 decimal places, okay, till 6. But what is the next number? 7. So the next number is 7. If the next number is 5 or more than 5, Tableau going to add 1 to the before number. So what is the outcome here? The outcome is 12.45 and 7. Okay, 12.45 and 7. And here more importantly here, this n, this number of places, here the number of places is optional. Here this n, number of places is optional. Okay, it is not mandatory. So if we omit the number of places, if we take a round of 12.4567, then Tableau will take okay, here the value as 0. Even though if we omit the number of places, Tableau will take the number of places as 0. So it is equal to 12.4567. okay, both are same. So in both the cases, so Tableau will round the number. Okay, Tableau will round to the integer part. So while rounding to the integer part, again Tableau will check the next value. The next value is 5 or more than 5. Tableau will add 1 to this number. Okay, here the next value is only 4. So the output is only 12. And if you take round of 12.567, 0, then here as the number is 5, so Tableau going to round to the integer part only But Tableau is going to check the next number, so which is 5. It is going to add 1 to 2. So the output is 13. So the output is 13. So let me show you this function. Just go to Tableau. So I'm creating a candidate field, the name round. I'm taking round of 12.1234, 2. So now here what will be the output? Tableau will round to dot 12. The next number is 3. So it will display 12.12. So create a candidate field, drag the round and drop it into the rows and click on dimension. See the output. What the output? 12.12. So next, if I take 12.54, 2. So now it is going to take till 1 2, but the next number is 5. It is going to add 1 to the 2. So the output is 12.13. Okay. So now if I take only the integer part, if I don't take any number of places, see the calculation is 1. It's a Tableau going to round it 12. The next number is 1. So the outcome is 12. Now if I take 12.5254, then Tableau going to take it 13. Okay. So in this way the round positive going to work. Then what about the round negative? So as the round positive is rounding the integers, the round negative will going to round the, as the round positive is rounding the decimals, as the round positive is rounding the decimals, round negative going to round the integers. You will take a round of 12.1234, minus 2, minus 2. So it is going to round the integers from higher to lower. So it is a unit place, tens place, next hundreds place. So it is going to round in this direction. So how it is going to round means, so it is going to round till here, okay, till 2 places, and it will convert these to zeros. It will convert this to zeros. So the last number in the round, if the minus n value, it means if the minus 2 value is 5 or more than 5, it is going to add 1 to the before number. Okay. So what does it mean is, so while rounding the number to minus n places, it is going to convert the minus n places to zeros. It means these 2 places to zeros. After converting them to zeros, it will check the minus n value. Here minus n value is 5 or less than 5. The minus n value is 5 or less than, 5 or more than 5. Tableau going to add 1 to the before number. Okay, Tableau going to add 1 to the before number. If it is less than 5, Tableau it won't add anything. Okay, Tableau it won't add anything. So now in this case the output is 0. The output is 0. And if we take a round of 72.1234, minus 2. Now it is going to round these 2 numbers to zeros. And what is the last value? 7, which is more than 5. So Tableau going to add 1 to the before number. So what is the before number? 0. So by default before number is 0. So it is going to add 1 to the before number. So 1. So the outcome is 100 here. Okay, here the outcome is 100. Here the outcome is 100. So just go to Tableau, create a new sheet. I am taking here the round negative I am taking here. So in the formula I am taking round of 12.1234, minus 2. Okay, plus I am taking round of 72.1234, minus 2. So just hit OK. Now drag the round negative and drop into the rows and convert them to dimension. So now see the value. What's the value? 100. So what this round negative is doing? So it is just converting these two values to zeros, as the last value is 1, so it will use the output as zeros. And again here to convert these two values to zeros, as the last value is 7, to add 1 to the before number, so 100. So here the output is 100. So in this way the round positive and the round negative going to work. So any questions on this round guys? Any questions? What?
Balance 72.1234 minus 3. What will be the value for that?
1, 2, 3, 4. Come minus?
3.
Yeah, it is going to round the 3 places. So here you have 7, 2, here you have only 2 places, right? So by default it considers 0. So it is going to round these 3 places to zeros. And what is the last number? 0, right? So it is going to give the end output as 0.
Okay.
Yeah. So the next type of functions are square. It is going to give square value of the input number, next power, and SQRT. Square will take the input as a number, then just double that number, and power will take the input as number and the required power. It is going to raise that input number to the specified power. So take 10, 3. It is going to give the 10 power 3, so it is equal to 1000. And SQRT is going to find out the square root of the input number. If we take 100, it is going to give the square root of 100, which is 10. Next. The next functions are logarithmic functions. So we talk about the logarithmic functions. There are two functions. Number one, ln function, and next number two, log function. So ln function going to use the natural logarithmic value. Ln function will take the input as a number, and it gives the natural logarithmic value. Natural log value, and if you take the log function will take the input as number and the base, and it is going to use as the base logarithmic value. It is going to use as the base logarithmic value. In the syntax, if you see the value in the square brackets, it indicates optional. Not only in Tableau, in any programming language and in any application, if you see any expression in the square brackets, means it indicates optional. So ln going to give us the natural logarithmic value, and log function going to give us the base logarithmic value. It is going to give us the base logarithmic value. So if we omit the base, it will take the default base as 10. It will take the default base as 10. So these are the number functions in 8. So if we go to analysis and if we go to the calculated field, so once let's see the number functions. So these are the different types of number functions we discussed previous. So a cos, a sin, a tan 2 are the inverse trigonometry function. Next cos, cot. Degrees they come from the trigonometry functions. Next div. Div going to divide going to take the input as 2 integers. It is going to divide int 1 with int 2. And next exp. Exp is also called as the exponential function. It raises the input number to the power e. Next ln and log, logarithmic function. Next max and min. We know about max and min. And next is pi. So pi means like it's a radians, which is equivalent to 180 degrees or 22/7. Next power, we have seen power. Next radians will convert the degrees to radians. Next you have seen round. Next sine also you have seen. Next sine function, the trigonometry functions, SQRT, square, tan and zn. These are the number functions in 8. What about in 9? If we go to 9, in 9 we have a few new functions. If we go to number, in 9 number functions, the new functions are ceiling and floor. Okay, ceiling and floor. So what ceiling going to do? These are the new functions, ceiling and floor. So what ceiling function going to do? Ceiling function it is going to return the highest nearest integer. Highest nearest integer. Whereas a floor function is going to return lowest nearest integer. Okay, lowest nearest integer. So let's say for example I'll take ceiling of, I'm taking ceiling of, okay, 10.1. So if we take ceiling of 10.1, for the what ceiling going to do? It is going to return the highest and nearest integer. So click on apply, click on OK. So once drag the seal and drop it into rows. Okay, so once convert this to dimension. So once see the value. What's the value? 11. Why 11? So here what is the number here? 10.1. So here 10 is the integer and dot 1 is the decimal. For 10, which is the highest and which is the nearest integer. So the highest and the nearest integer is 11. We take here 10.00001. Now what tableau going to return? Just click on apply, click on OK. Now even here Tableau is giving us what? 11. So 10.00001 means, okay, Tableau will consider that as the, okay, the floating number. The floating number will take the integer value and it is going to give us the next and the highest nearest integer. So next if we take floor here, so Tableau going to give us okay, the nearest lowest integer. If I take 10.0001, which is the nearest integer, the nearest integer is 10. So in this way the floor and ceiling going to work. So these are the number functions in Tableau base. So these number functions I will discuss in the coming tasks. So first I'm discussing these functions to build the calculations. So in the calculations we'll integrate the different types of functions. We'll take number, string and date functions together and we'll build the calculations. So in my tomorrow session I'm going to discuss about the string functions. So it's all about today's session. If you have any questions, please post your question.
Hey, voice is completely breaking.